My name is Kate. This is my second year at PCC, and my last year in high school. I started PCC when I was 16 because I could, and I'm getting my associate's degree to transfer to Eastern Oregon to wrestle and get a master's in creative writing.
My name is Oscar Nieves Lira. I'm a Mexican writer, poet, and I am a rapper. So now, I'm a student here at PCC trying to finish a transfer degree for literature and philosophy.
My name is Sean Fields. This is my second year at PCC. I'm looking to transfer to PSU to get a degree in communications.
I'm Megan Savage. I have been a faculty member here at PCC since 2008. I've been teaching the editing and publishing class for the last 4 years.
Alchemy is a literary magazine that was founded in 1974, spring semester. What makes this year really significant for Alchemy is it is our 50th edition, which is really exciting.
I think it's important to celebrate an editorial and a publication that has reached this milestone in terms of age when is coming from a community college more than anything, because community colleges used to have a bad rap as opposed to that being the next path you take in your education. So knowing that there is quality work that is recognized at the international level, not just in the local level, that is producing these types of magnificent work with the contributions of artists, writers, poets, photographers of the quality that we have, I think it's essential to just highlight those things.
We're making this publication in 8 weeks. Also, most, editors, that's their job. This is one of 3, 4, 5 classes that we each have. Mm-hmm. This is crazy.
We're on the quarter system here at PCC.
Oh, yes.
Right? So our terms in winter and spring are 10 weeks long, plus an 11th week for finals week. So
shorter if something happens.
Shorter if something happens, like an ice storm. Right? Yeah. And we have, for our print publication, you might think, we're creating this and putting it out at the end of the term. We are launching it on June 12th, the Wednesday in finals week. So the 11th week of the publication cycle, we will have the issue in hand and we're having a big event. But in order to have the issue printed, right, the printing process is a big part of this. And we have an earlier deadline that we have to meet. So we are getting the full digital issue to the printer on the Wednesday of week 9. So that's about 8.5 weeks if you're counting from zero, as in some of these people haven't even met each other, to we have a book in hand. And we had about 600 submissions. Okay? So 0 to here is a book. And over the course of those weeks, you have to consider 12 students reading 600 submissions, making decisions.
Yeah. I think, at least for our class, has really brought up a lot of talk about why we publish in 2024.
There's a lot of conversation within the editorial team about the state of art and media in the world and what it means to highlight and uplift voices within the arts, as opposed to using
you're saying highlighting human voices as opposed to what had been in my mind was AI, because that's a conversation that came up. And I think two of the big kind of contextualizing / pressure point kind of things that really came up in our conversations early on about this moment and why this moment and what it means to highlight human voices in this moment are human voices at a moment, and the importance and value of human voices and human thinking and human processing of the world in a moment where AI is starting to gain a foothold in writing and in kind of outsourcing the thinking we do.
I don't think any of us are under the illusion that by publishing we're going to fix all of the world's issues.
No.
And I don't think we were saying that, but...
Oh, I am.
Oh,
yeah. Just kidding. Sorry.
But I do think what we are doing is creating something that it's not another like mindless piece of media to be consumed and ignored afterwards. Yeah. It's not, another of the same movie we've seen 20 times in a slightly different font. Yeah. It's something that has to be engaged with and understood in order to be like really valued. And so it's a little reminder to people that there is value in art and in creating and enjoying consciously. I think it also speaks to the community that we have here at large, we've had 50 years of incredible work to share, and we still have more that we didn't have room for. Like, there's so much untapped creativity and potential for beauty in our community, and we are lucky enough to be able to highlight a small piece of that.
A couple of our other editors, Haley and Paloma, who have been looking at the back issues, realized that there were certain things, certain poems that were very, very poignant to the time where they were created and share within the community that was the makeup of PCC. And it's interesting to see how, as time goes along, there's more of you add more spices to the recipe. There's other voices. There's a female presence appearing there. There's a queer presence appearing there. There's international presence appearing there with people from different parts of the world. And the conversation that you were mentioning, Sean, expands or it becomes, it mutates, it transfigurates, to use an alchemical term, giving the emphasis of alchemy, to something new. It transmutes to something new. So it's perhaps getting us closer to that recipe that will that will transform the metal into gold at the end of the day.
It's 50 years of faculty, staff, students, advisors, anybody uplifting the publication who have been kind of advocating for the value of this kind of meaning making and connection through art and writing in a place and with populations who don't always have that access. And community colleges are places where we often see professionalization. In other words, there's often a lot of emphasis on what skills will get you a job and joining the workforce. And there's all kinds of things that we do in this class that do relate to that. I mean, professional and careerist aspects of what we do relate and translate, but ultimately the why of the class, like why does any of that matter, has to do with this kind of connection and advocacy for kind of asking moral questions, asking aesthetic questions, asking questions about whose voices we uplift, how do we use our editorial power and responsibility, and having a place to have that dialogue, which can be contentious. It can be full of, conflicting ideas. It can force us to really think deeply into our own values, which is really uncomfortable, and into our own habits and our own sensibilities. In terms of the art that we like, the things that we read, and what we think is important. That's deeply uncomfortable work. And it's work that we will do in the world outside of this class in so many situations without the kind of support of a community to hold each other while we're doing it. So I'm just incredibly grateful for the people over 50 years who fought for that space, and to the students that I've been working with.
Really, I feel like this whole experience has been really meaningful. Megan refers to us as like a cohort, and I kind of like didn't expect that, really. I mean, I kind of came into this being like, oh, it's just, another class. I'm going to learn how to edit. I want to be a technical writer, and then I really found, like, meaningful connections and, these relationships. And we really are a cohort where it's like, if I ever feel like I'm lacking or I'm confused in something, like I'm not good at InDesign, I can be like, hey, Grace, can you help me? And she will, in the most, like, gracious, lovely way. And I really think that every single one of us is like that. Like, we all matter, and we all matter to each other. And I think, like, this class has really brought that about for me. And it really, like, beyond this, like, all this, like, big talk and stuff, and there's these grand ideas, but for me, when it comes down to it, that is what writing is. It's this community, and it's something that I'm passionate about, and to know that other people are passionate about it too, and we can be this together is really fulfilling.
And you cannot have that without nurturing artists, without nurturing writers, without having a hidden gem in the Pacific Northwest that is Portland, that gives like, for example, a kid in the middle of nowhere in Mexico who comes here, and then you tell them, I like your writing, I like what you do, let me publish this. That is incredibly validating. Or someone who is from another group, immigrants, queer people who may not see themselves represented in the canons of art, and all of a sudden they get a feature in somewhere within academia that lets them know, yes, I see you. Yes, you're validated. Yes, you're here.
Like, for me, it's about opportunity and giving students opportunity. I think that's really what's incredible about Alchemy, both the opportunity to practice editing and the opportunity to have their work published.
The thing that we curate and that we create as an editorial team is something that does speak to a lot of the people here in our community. Because the work that we're doing to curate meaningful and conscientious art is something that resonates with people, especially at a college level, especially within a community college.
And because going off of all of that, like, obviously this is a great experience, but it's also a pretty stressful experience. And I think that's just the industry, and so it's really fulfilling and makes it all worth it to have that, like, physical production, to know that, all of us put our sweat and tears into this and we made something. And it makes you really proud, like, really proud of yourself. And I'm just excited also to bring this to the launch and to show people, and be like, this is what we did.